I want to share with you something that I think will resonate with you, but I also think you might not want to hear. Let me start here. I heard recently in an Andy Stanley podcast this quote, I'm going to paraphrase. Systems never drift toward excellence. You got to be deliberate if you want that level of excellence or character, because there's this insidious underlying current that naturally pulls us from excellence or this standard, who we're trying to be, our identity. And when that drift from that standard goes unchecked, not held accounted for, or God help you, if the leader is actually modeling that drift, you're going to get a new standard, and that becomes part of the culture. Now, here's the part I think you're not going to want to hear, and I wish this wasn't the case, but just try this on. One of the biggest sources of drift in organizations, teams, families is sarcasm. Oh, I wish that wasn't the case. Sarcasm always damages the relationship. But it's funny and I'm good at it. I know, I get that. But just pay attention to this. It sure as heck doesn't advance the relationship. Because here's what's going on behind the scenes. Sarcasm, it's passive aggressive. You're taking a shot without really taking a shot, because it's usually cloaked under, hey, we're just kidding around, or there's humor, and it appears everybody else is laughing, and usually they're laughing because they're glad it wasn't directed at them. But it's passive aggressive. And it's also a power play. Usually somebody's sort of making a statement about where they stand in the pack. And it's typically done socially. And there's always a little dig in there. And here's the other interesting thing, is sarcasm is a form of feedback. And what we know in organizations is people are hungry for feedback, but a lot of times they're not getting good quality feedback. So this might be the only feedback they're getting. This kind of indirect, ambiguous, glancing blow that is actually offered in a way that chips the paint off of the relationship. And I can't tell you how many times when we've explored this, I've had after the fact CEOs and team leads and special forces leaders come up and go, you know what? We're never going to drive this to zero. I get that. But it's kind of gotten away from us, is that we've let this go on. And as a leader, maybe I've modeled it. And it's moved us in an unhealthy direction. And we got to get this under control. We got to move the needle back, because we're better than that. So folks, it's this simple. Check your drift. Sarcasm, excuse making, blaming, pessimism. These are things that can become very naturally, they can drive a culture to a place that's different than what you really want. And a lot of times you end up going, how did we get here? Well, if you're a leader, you own this. You own the deliberate focus on moving back to what the target is, moving back towards excellence. And you need to feel the blessing and the burden of modeling what right looks like. So check your drift.